The Gallena fish was a legend, so much so that not even we had heard of it. It was a mythical beast 30 feet long, the relative of the Greenland shark, slow moving but a smart fish. Me and my father had been fishing our whole lives, catching striper, drum, perch, and hardhead in the Chesapeake Bay. We had a secret spot in 15 feet of water near an underwater rock formation. I'd say where my dad never liked to put into our spot. We fished in the same spot since I was born until one day we heard of striper near where we docked, and 6 feet of water and an inlet. We thought it'd be funny if we caught something in that murky water, so we gave it a try. I had had dreams about catching fish on our boat while it was docking and told my dad, so that's what we did. We came back from a fishing trip one day with only one striper. Two striper was the limit, and that's when it all began. There was a leftover crowds who put on the line and said, "What the hell?" We were very close to the dock and people said they were catching stripers, so we gave it a shot. Then minutes went by and all we caught was a couple perch. Then my dad's line went slack and he said, "I think I got something."
As much as I can, take you everywhere that I go to, lead you all around the land. The sky is falling to the floor, yeah, yeah. The sky is falling to the floor, yeah, yeah. We'll be the same in 10 years. Love lasts through the test of time, and persecutions of desolations of things that go on in your pretty little mind. Follow me to the outside of darkness, where all our fears lie and requite, and find that we are not always the ones who need to be afraid. The sky is falling, the floor, yeah.
He pulled on the pole and said, "I must be snagged, nothing but dead weight." So then he kept yanking on the pole and we felt our boat shake. Thought it must have been the tide. A couple minutes later, the angle of the snag shifted. He said, "Brian, I think it's a fish." I said, "Whatever it is, it's big. Can't be a drumfish. We're in too shallow of water." And a sharp boy pulling the line out like crazy. That's when we saw these four giant dorsal fins swimming next to our boat. I said, "Dad, what is that thing?" He said, "I don't know, Brian. We're getting it in." He kept reeling and I got the net. He said, "Never mind that, it's not going to be big enough." He reeled for 2 excruciating hours and the fish just gave up and floated on its side. Our boat was 25 feet long and the fish was bigger than it. It looked like some sort of catfish with a giant tail. We thought it was dead, so we used our harpoon gun and tried to stake it to its upper lip and attach it to a rope. We were getting ready to pull it on land with our truck and then it went under. I quickly attached the rope to the boat. We were docked, but our boat began to sway up and down as if we were at sea. A devilish laugh came from my dad, and he said, "Looks like we got us a challenge." And everything went calm. 10 minutes went by, the rope took off again, and we saw the fish. I shot it repeatedly with the harpoon gun, attaching more and more ropes to it, tying them off to the The fish let out a shrieking sound so loud it hurt our ears to hell. Dad said, "What the hell is that thing?" And I described it on Go. It looks like a catfish with 4 giant dorsal fins. Well, was the old Native American legend of a beast called the Gallena fish, with teeth like razors and the intelligence of a person. Because no one has ever survived an encounter with a Gallena fish, only witnessed it. Also said you couldn't kill it for it had 4 brains and 4 sets of teeth. As soon as I read this, the fish jumped on our boat, pushing it down in the water. The fish opened his mouth and was feeling for my dad, calling for him in the wheelhouse. I was watching from the bow and handed him a harpoon and told him to stab it in the eye. The fish let out a terrible cry. He began slashing and close to my dad with his rows of teeth, shining bright like Christmas lights. That's when he said, "I'll show you," and turned the engine on. Near the fish saw half. My dad said, "How do you like that 300 horsepower?" Then blood started spraying everywhere. Our boat started to sink and my dad yelled. And I yelled to my dad, "I need to tell you something." And when my dad yelled, "Hi," instead I said, "Dad, I need to tell you something." And 2 hours later, they started swimming closer and closer to us. Dad yelled, "Oh shit," and then we swam to the nearest dock, neck and neck. One of the half of the fish up my dad's leg, and that fish was hot on my tail. 3 feet from the dock, and we both grabbed on. I was slipping and couldn't get up, and Dad let go of the dock, started to lift me up, screaming. I got on the dock, and as soon as I did, I reached for my dad's hand, but he got pulled under. I got on land crying, and watched the fish morph back into one in some way. Then put on the street camera. The police said they heard a lot of noise. I explained to them what happened. They took me to a dark FBI car where I was knocked out. I don't remember the rest.
All our music because we didn't know how long we had to play, so we had to make like 2 more songs, but
Yeah.